This site is a hive of activity with loads going on, from carpenters, workshops, lock restoration, dry docks and loads on the nature side. I'm back at Pewsham Locks. We've got the massive Carpenters workshop continuing in the background, and there's also a few other projects which I want to cover here today. So we've got the oak trusses have arrived over there. That's the oak for the roof. There's a few panels to go up on the ends. You've got the gables to do basically, and then they can join them and then carry on with the roof structure going across. I'm going to have a look at this. They just arrived on site as well, and then we're going to sort of take a look at some of the structures on here, including the dry dock, and then we're going to have a look down on what's happening with the green teams further down the canal. So down at the dry dock, they're doing quite a bit of work again. So this stopped for a little while the project was going on up there. You can see this is the lock, which some work has been done. They've got kind of this wall, the sort of right hand wall was sort of more modern repairs, and I think they need to take that out and restart. I know they had the walls measured, but most of this is largely the same. But just above the lock you've got the dry dock, and sort of what would happen is you'd take your boat in and then you could empty out the end, which we'll show you in a second. But this is there's been quite a lot of restoration done in here. You can see where sort of the water is going to shoot down the sides and stuff, and then you're going to have a pump back system on these locks as well. These were all cast last year, maybe the year before, and they've got right the way up through to the overflow, all the way up to the middle lock. This is the overflow back, and you can see there's a hole in the end there. So when the water gets to this level, it will go through, and you can put like a post in here and then stop planks on either side, so you can adjust that level slightly and drain out quite a bit if you need to. But going back to here, look, you can see this is an original coping stone. Most of these unfortunately have been lost, and then the concrete modern alternative on the top, which is quite common to do now. So they've got to do this all the way across the top in here, which they have started now. While they're waiting for the sort of the rest of the Carpenters workshop to be built, they can't really do a lot on there, so they can carry on back again here. So what you've got here is, we start on this side, you've got the bottom wall, and then you've got these pieces put into it. Now what this is for is timber. Well, I think it's an oak roof going on here. They'll have uprights on all of these, and they're slot over the top and bolt in. So that would be the support, which supports that roof right down into the brickwork and foundations. So then they get some bar, which they got here, and these, which we're going to in a second. And then they make this. So this is like a concrete reinforcement, and what they've got the long rebar through the middle, which are these bits, and then they've got these presets, which they've got a big bag of them of, and these go round, you tie them in, and that gives you a lot of support inside the concrete. And these little bits here are basically just tie-offs, which you use as, there'll be different sizes in here, and they sit underneath, and they basically give them a space to slow at night. And then they have these formers. These formers are then put in place, which they're currently doing now. And then once they're all set up, you can cast the concrete down, and then you end up with a form. There's various different ways you can do it. You can put like a little guide on the side here to give you the angle like you've got over there, or have them flat. I don't think they need such an angle on these. And they can cut back whenever possible, and you can see the supports. Look, there's only a small amount sticking up now, so that oak beam will just go over the top and sit down on this concrete and create the roof. So you can also see the spaces on here, look, so just to show you what they're doing. They literally just sit on top. They've got a curved edge, and they can go various different ways, which gives you different heights. Those formers aren't going on yet, but you can see what I mean about they join them. They haven't got enough concrete to do any. It's not coming till Tuesday, so they're going to carry on today doing some more of the rebar. But yeah, so you put basically, once you've done these individual ones, the middle ones are quite easy, because you just put across and then around the back, clamp them together, and then fill the gap in between. This ones have like an end former, which goes on the end. This is the one you've just seen being taken apart, and it creates this sort of former around the back as well. But this is the end of the dry dock. So when they want to drain this down, I'm not sure where the paddle gear would have been on here, whether it would have been sort of in behind here somewhere, or down at the bottom of the lock. You'd bring your boat into here, you'd close the gate on the end, put stop planks in probably, and then you would open the paddle up wherever it is on here, and then the water would drain down here through this, and then obviously gravity would do its thing, and because you're at the top of the lock, it would drain down to the bottom there. So back up to the top pan, we've got the oak trusses being unloaded. There's different sizes. There's bits to go sort of straight across from side to side, and then they're making like a triangle on top, so there'll be some short bits as well, but it's way too heavy to be sort of handballed across, so they use a digger to sort of take it across and up the slope into the building. So once it's in place, it's just a case of leveling the walls. They already know the right width wise, so once the walls are level, it'll be right at the top as well. This will then be made into the triangle. There'll be another one put roughly where the digger is now. There's another beam going across, and then you've got the ends to do, the gable ends to do as well, which will be put on last. So just to the side of the workshop, you can see here there's cardboard on the floor with mulchings on the top, and then lots of different trees and whips and stuff planted inside here. See some leaves coming up on there now, look. So this is all the work done by the green teams down here. So let's go down further down the canal now and see Howard and see what they're up to today.
Okay, my name's Howard Yardy. I'm the wildlife officer for the Melksham, Chippenham and Cowan branch. We're here at the rock meadow at Pewsham, about half a mile south of the locks. Today we've just mown off the winter growth of grass from the meadow. We would have done it with the tractor, the B-root tractor that we use as a flail mower collector, but because it's so wet the ground, we've had to resort to our all-terrain mowers. And the purpose of it is, as I say, to take off the winter growth of the grass, because we then create little patches where the young seedlings of wildflowers can actually get ahead of the grass and develop. If we left it uncut, then they would struggle and the grass would swamp them, and it would take longer for us to get to a wildflower meadow. I came here first 2.5 years ago. Dave Maloney told me that this was designated as a meadow. When we first came here, there was hogweed and hemlock about 4 feet high, lots of thistles dominating the ground, so that we needed to get the fertility down of the ground, so that we could allow shorter growing plants to give us more variety of plants, increase the diversity of the plants in the area. That's taken 2 years to get where we are now, so that will continue over the years, and we'll see more and more wildflowers. We have a couple of spots here. You can see this little area here, which is the old pasture where the silt from the canal restoration wasn't spread on. So that's the original pasture there, and we've got orchids, which tells me that the ground's never been disturbed, and it would be something we will preserve and increasingly spread it this way to where the ground is very fertile. So that would take a little while, but it's coming.
So just come up on the scaffold to have a better look. You can see here, this is the area, so this is the toilet areas here. This toilet's been kindly donated by Plumbase in Chippenham. And then you've got kitchen area is going to be kind of about here, across through to there. So we've got a boiler coming, but that's kind of been donated by another company as well. And then they're just working on the like the first roof truss across here, an A-frame on there. I think these end panels are going up on another day once they've done all the trusses and they can start putting everything together. You may be able to hear it here, you may not, but the wind's getting really bad at height. I was just on that scaffold there, which is the same height as the tower scaffold, and where they're going to be having to lift quite heavy beams up and stuff. And yeah, it's really bad. You wouldn't have been able to hear anything on the mic, it was that bad. So they're going to come back and do that, and they'll also by that time have sort of the other bits and pieces. So they got some they can then put all the ends in and kind of tie it all together. So unfortunately today we've only seen kind of really one beam going in and a bit of cutting, but it is getting there. So it's seasoned oak going in here, so you can see It's a variety, but it's quite a dark colour. That actually makes it a lot harder to cut. You probably saw them cutting the timbers there. They were really struggling along with it. But the one good thing that's happened today is that now there's this beaming across here, and that's screwed and fixed in place. These walls are now a lot more solid. So it was kind of braced in place before, but that does give a lot more rigidity to the structure. So with the wind that's picking up, you're not worrying about it sort of flapping around everywhere. This lock is coming on along. The last video, you may remember, we went into the slurry in the walls and stuff and what they're doing. Now what they've done is they've put these timbers in, which you can see on the uprights here. And now the reason for that is the lock, where it's moved and shifted over time and previous repairs have been made, is actually too narrow at the top to fit a boat. So what they're actually doing now is they've got this line up so they can cut the bricks, I guess just the facing bricks, tie it all in. You can really see, we'll go up the top in a second, you can really see just how far out it is by that timber. So you can see here all the bricks that have been cleaned. They've got a brick cutter there, which they'll be using to cut the facing bricks, which I think they've already started doing by the looks of it. And then you've got the Legend of Brian over there, cleaning bricks. But you can see just on the top here, the camera on this side, and I'll put the camera out, just how different that gap is from top to bottom there. It's really shallow at the top, so they're almost just going to have a little facing strip on them by the time they get them there. Thanks for watching, have a great day.